July 3rd, 1966. It's the Formula One French Grand Prix, and two Ferraris are battling it out with a mysterious third driver in an unrecognizable race car. It's slower than and less refined than the two Ferraris, but somehow it's keeping up. A couple brilliant moves later, and the car moves up to second, now flanked by the screaming red beasts. Lorenzo Bandini has the power advantage in his Ferrari, but the second place car is being helped by his slipstream. There's nothing left to do but to push. No matter what he does, Bandini can't shake the guy. He's about to find out exactly why everyone was worried about the green and gold Brabham. As a mechanic and engineer, Jack Brabham brought ideas to the forefront of automotive construction that would have a lasting effect on the game. And as a race car driver, he brought a wild and unruly Australian flavor to the track, putting Oz on the racing map for decades to come. This duality, along with the persistent push to make his cars better, faster, and more reliable, made him an absolute legend. A true Jack of all trades. So how did one Aussie from fairly humble beginnings turn into an innovative racer, engineer, and three-time Formula One world champion, and get a suburb named after him? Today on Past Gas, we're discussing racing legend Jack Brabham and try to figure out how he became just so good at everything.
Past Gas Podcast. It's about cars, it's not about sports.
Brabham.
Brabham. That's what his cars sounded like.
Brabham.
Didn't he do that on purpose?
Yeah. Yeah, he invented how a car sounds.
That's amazing.
Before Jack Brabham decided that he wanted cars to sound like his name, they sounded like whoops, 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 sorry. That's because they were designed like that to apologize to the horses that they were replacing. Because people were really worried that their horses' feelings were going to be hurt. And like rightfully so.
Sorry. That's the downshifting.
Yeah, I mean, rightfully so. Horse suicides like peaked in like 1911. Yeah, all these horses just like shotgunned themselves in the head.
Jesus.
They did.
Brabham's first engine said, "Sorry, not sorry." And it was like, oh, you got me in the first part.
Yeah. And it was like, Jacka. Sorry, not sorry. Jacka. And then eventually he set it on.
Yeah, I think that was a good choice.
Jack.
Welcome to Past Gas, everybody. That was fun. My name is Nolan Sykes. I'm joined, as always, by my two co-hosts. We got Joe Weber.
Yo, what's up?
I haven't seen you this much this week.
I know I've been behind the scenes, pulling the strings.
Making moves.
Sweet. And that other voice you heard is James Pumphrey. What's up, James?
I've seen you a ton this week.
I was about to say, flip it up. Yeah, we've seen each other a lot. Seen a lot of each other this week.
Seen a lot of each other in the stew, in the shop.
Yep.
Get just strong high fives.
We did have a really strong high five the other day. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Did you hurt yourselves?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only way to do it. You know, you gotta feel some pain. That's how you know it was good. So this week we're talking about Jack Brabham. If you're into Formula One, you've definitely heard this guy's name before. I don't really know a ton about him, so I'm very excited to learn along with you guys. Speaking of Formula One storylines, Drive to Survive is out. It's pretty good. Good season so far. I'm not all the way through it. I'm like, I've got 2 episodes left.
Yeah. I'm really trying to not blow it in one sitting because it's like, your stash of steaks.
Yeah.
And you don't want to eat all your steaks at once.
You don't want to eat all those Omaha steaks in one go. There's an Omaha Steaks store. They have a brick and mortar store on Pico.
Yeah, but it's a hole.
Yeah, it's like absolute crap.
It's
hole.
a freaking basically a rest stop bathroom compared to Good Chop.
Anyway, I love Drive to Survive. I love Drive to Survive. I like it a lot. I think it's just amazing what that show has done for the sport in the US, particularly just the impact.
It's really one of the smartest things any motorsport series has ever done, or like any sports series. And like the release date, like the fact that you can binge all of it and just be really set up for the season.
That's perfect, man. It's so good.
It's perfect.
It's perfect.
And you know what I have to say to the haters?
Say it, dude.
Go to film school. Because producing a show's hard, and it all comes down to what footage you have.
Yeah. Maybe try crack film sometime.
Maybe try crack watching Citizen K one time.
I mean, but before we started recording, you're talking about how it's just a marvel that the show even gets made and put out in time anyway.
It's a phenomenal achievement in filmmaking. I think it's just so, like, if you think about how many people they are covering and how many people it takes to follow all those people.
Yeah.
Like, just amazing. And the turnaround is like 2 months.
Yeah, they have to break the stories, which is super hard. If you just have raw footage and you're trying to piece it together to make a story, that's very difficult. To do that in, a couple months, edit it, button it up, and have it ready to release right before the season is huge.
Yeah, the fact that they get the footage on the plane is Okay, so our story today is like Drive to Survive, but it would be in black and white.
Yeah, just imagine black and white, Will Buxton sitting in a studio. For some reason, there's a second shot where you can see like part of the light that's lighting his face. So just imagine that. Get in that mindset.
Everybody's smoking. There's raw oysters.
Everyone's smoking their interviews. That's right.
There's raw oysters everywhere.
They're drinking whiskey for lunch.
Yeah, everyone has a pheasant.
Yeah.
They got some good chopped steaks they're grilling up in the paddock.
Yeah. In the paddock, they've got like lamb chops.
Yeah.
And like when they come into pit, they get out of the car and they go eat like a little lamb lollipop.
Lamb with mint is such like a 60s old guy food.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? Mint jelly.
Sounds good. I've never had it though.
Yeah.
Oh, mint jelly. Oh, interesting.
Lamb with mint jelly. Who was the first person to do that? Who's the caveman who did that?
Is there a small plates restaurant I can go to that has that?
Yeah,
probably
sure.
Frank and Musso's on Hollywood Boulevard.
It's Musso and Frank's.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I've never been there.
Love small plates. Big small plates guy. Okay. Let's get into the story this week. Jack Brabham was born on April 2nd, 1926 in Hertzville, a suburb of Sydney, Australia. Hertzville.
That's where my bully took me in when I was in high school.
At the age of 12, his family pretty irresponsibly let their son drive both the family car and the trucks for the family grocery business. Luckily, this brush with child endangerment did not lead to any serious injuries, but rather an early fascination with cars and the industry behind them. At 15 years old, Jack dropped out of technical college to go work in a garage as a mechanic and take night school classes for mechanical engineering. 1 month after he turned 18, Brabham enlisted in the Royal Australian Air Force. Brabham hoped to become a pilot, but due to a wartime shortage, he utilized his skills and became a flight mechanic. When he was discharged 2 years later, he left with the rank of leading craftsman. He returned home to Hertzville and started his own engineering business, buying and selling secondhand cars and servicing/repairing vehicles on a plot of land behind his grandpa's house.
I'd say engineering business is a stretch.
Yeah.
It's like, he had a backyard and he bought a bunch of crap and sold it.
This reminds me of Bruce McLaren's story a little bit too.
Yeah. I'm getting real Bruce McLaren deja vu right now.
Well, you might be excited to find out that they were buddies.
Oh, buddies.
Buddies, you say.
Bruce McLaren, of course, from New Zealand, not Australia.
An American named Johnny Schonberg is the man responsible for getting the Aussie into racing. It all started when Schonberg encouraged his friend Brabham to try out midget car racing. It's not what it sounds like, all right? Or speed car racing, as it was known in Australia, which was gaining mainstream popularity worldwide.
These are early sprint cars.
Brabham initially scoffed at the idea, calling the drivers lunatics for driving ridiculous-looking open-wheeled cars in endless circles on dirt roads. Sprint cars are the ones with like the half swastika on top of them, right?
What?
Sure. Yeah.
It's just got a big wing, right? Or like
It's got a big wing. Yeah.
It's like the two, like it's like.
Yeah, they are opposite. I've never thought of it as a half swastika before, but it's shaped that way because of the side force you get from those big flat elements pointing up and down, and then the downforce from the downward element. But yeah, the early midget cars did not have this. So these are like sprint cars without any sort of arrow on them.
I've got a question. Are the inside wheels smaller than the outside wheels?
I'm not sure about these cars in particular, but on modern sprint cars, yes. Yes, they are. It helps
they
to
are
rotate
weird
the car.
cars.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Cars, weird cars. Brabham was a sucker for automotive construction, and the two friends built a car together in 1948. Schonberg was the initial driver of their car, but ironically, Schonberg's wife convinced him to stop racing, leaving Brabham to be the lone lunatic driver of the pair and take over.
These cars are dangerous, dude. Especially back then. I don't even think they had seatbelts. So if you flipped and got thrown from the car, you're definitely getting injured.
And for sure, they don't have cup holders.
They do not. You're right.
Even though he was reluctant to race at first, Brabham excelled at the sport quickly. Very quickly. Like he won the third race he ever competed in quickly.
Wow.
This was an early blip in the Jack Brabham is just really good at everything car-related narrative that would only continue on to further lengths from here. He became a regular competitor and frequent winner in speed car racing.
Speed car racing.
Speed car racing.
Speed car. It's a car that goes speedy.
Only a year into his racing career in 1949, the hobby became a profession for Brabham, who was developing the skills and know-how to race hard and fast on cars he fine-tuned himself.
Oh, yeah.
The techniques that he learned in speed car racing would come in handy for the rest of his career. Brabham was once quoted saying in regards to speed racing, "You had to have quick reflexes. In effect, you lived or possibly died on them."
Whoa. I would say that this sort of like dirt oval racing is probably, I would say it's similar to rally racing in the skills that you pick up. There's a lot of oversteer involved. A lot of like just insane amounts of car control. It's like all the guys that come from sprint car racing into NASCAR are the best. So it's interesting. I've never heard a story where a guy comes from sprint car racing and eventually goes into open wheel racing like we will with this story. So this is pretty cool.
He would go on to win the 1948 Australian Speed Car Championship, 1949 Australian and Southern Australian Speed Car Championship, and the 1950 and 51 Australian Championship. After this string of wins, Brabham considered upping his game and became interested in road racing.
There you go.
His road racing career started similarly to his midget racing career. Construct first, race later. He first started buying and working on British-made Cooper cars and then started competing in 1953. Brabham was a rebel and revolutionary from the get-go in his road racing days, but not for reasons one might immediately assume.
Is he a jerk?
No.
Was he doing
Nolan.
flips? Was he doing kick flips?
No. The reason was the fact that he had advertising on his car.
Oh, that's
what a rebel.
That's
He's a businessman. He's not a businessman. He's a businessman.
Businessman.
Brabham worked closely with the Red X Fuel Company and thought it only made sense to show the company some love on a car that they helped pay for. Brabham's Cooper Bristol was known as the Red X Special because of the advertisement painted all over the car. This did not sit well with racing officials and, in fact, moved racing authorities to ban advertising on cars. Can you imagine?
I can't.
You can't.
Yo, you guys got to look up a picture of this Cooper. I thought it was a Mini Cooper. It's not. It's a open top little roadster looking thing. Kind of reminds me of a Jaguar. Looks like a Jaguar D-Type a little bit. But that thing is beautiful, man.
Whoa,
wow.
Swoopy.
Very swoopy.
Now, perhaps this anti-authority stance was one of the reasons he earned the nickname Blackjack. With ruthless attitude and approach to racing and shadowy silence, not to mention some cool jet black hair. Brabham earned a nickname and reputation that let people know he was a force to be reckoned with on the track. He was also one to recognize the talent in others. He liked a fair fight on the track. If you passed Brabham, he didn't take it personally. It was probably because you were racing better than him. Now, not only was Brabham a skilled driver who was fun to watch, he consistently held the mentality of Sure, we're good, but we can do better. Blackjack competed in Australia and New Zealand until early 1950 when he decided that he wanted to take on bigger and better international competition in Europe.
Brabham settled in the UK upon his arrival and quickly became involved with the Cooper Car Company, the cars he worked on for a majority of his racing career. Frequently going to the Cooper factory, he started working on a bobtail mid-engine sports car for Formula One racing. Europe had a different kind of road racing, with more sophisticated cars than ones he was used to in speedway racing. Brabham made his first Formula One Grand Prix appearance in the 1955 British Grand Prix at the age of 29. The car he drove had a 2-liter engine, half a liter less than the maximum permitted size. He didn't win, but after competing against the leading contemporaries of his time, including Stirling Moss, he considered himself a level up from his speedway days, turning into a worthy competitor.
It's crazy hearing these names and then you see the date. It's like the 50s and know that these people competed for like so much longer.
Mm-hmm.
The 50s are so long ago.
They do be a long time ago. Yeah. Yeah, we should do an episode on Stirling Moss. God, what a freaking British sounding name, dude.
We haven't done one yet?
I don't think so.
Email us with the word Stirling Moss if you want us to do it.
Email us at passgas@donutmedia.com and let us know if we've done an episode on Stirling Moss yet.
We do not have a search function on any of our computers.
We're not allowed to use keyboards. We got in trouble. We're reading this off of Etch-a-Sketches.
Takes so long.
Hey, Past Gas listeners, today's episode is sponsored by Gran Turismo 7, rated E for everyone, which is out now for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. The game is the latest installment in a franchise that many people consider to be the absolute pinnacle of racing games. Fans of the podcast may know that we've talked about Gran Turismo extensively in our 3-part series on racing games. We've been playing the game, and so far, it's just an incredible experience. From the Nissan Skyline to vintage Porsches and 60s Mustangs, there's a car in this game for every car nerd. And with the Gran Turismo team's impeccable attention to detail, you know they drive just like they do in real life. Like I've said, we've been playing Gran Turismo a ton, and it's a blast. The game feels like a complete automotive world to get lost in, building on the amazing heritage of the series, but also feeling truly next-gen with features like ray tracing, active weather simulation, and much, much more. So go check out Gran Turismo 7 right now for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Let us know if you're as excited about this game as we are. Thank you, Gran Turismo 7. Big thank you to our sponsor this week, AutoZone. It's time to talk about my favorite place to get into, the Zone. AutoZone. You know, it's amazing how our cars just tell us when something is wrong. If something could find out what's wrong with me for free, I'd save a fortune on therapy. If you have a check engine light on, get it checked. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service will help you for free. Some of the common reasons for a check engine light can seriously affect your fuel efficiency, so don't ignore that light on your dash. You know the one. Get it cleared with the free AutoZone Fix Finder service. It's the most complete, free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. Did you hear the best part? It's free. Here's how it works. The Fix Finder takes information from your vehicle's computer and then gives you a recommended solution in plain English. You get a copy of the report printed and emailed so you can access it from your phone. Many issues are simple enough to solve yourself with a part replacement. But if you need an expert's help, AutoZone will recommend a trusted local shop to help you with the problem. Again, all this, the reading, the recommendations, the report, the shop recommendation, it's all totally free at every single one of the more than 6,000 AutoZone stores in the US. I've used this before. Getting that printout is super convenient, tells you exactly what you need to do. Thank you very much, AutoZone. So if you have a check engine light on, get it checked with AutoZone's free Fix Finder service. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy freezy. Get in the zone, AutoZone. When we started doing this podcast, I was doing everything from writing the scripts to organizing the shoots. And guess what, guys? I needed help. It made my life so much easier when we found Thomas, our producer Thomas, and of course our lovely producer Gavin. If you're hiring, you need Indeed, because Indeed is the hiring partner where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. And Indeed is the only job site where you're guaranteed to find quality applications that meet your must-have requirements, or else you don't pay. Instead of spending hours hours on multiple job sites hoping to find candidates with the right skills, you need one powerful hiring partner that can help you do it all. Indeed partners with you on every step of the hiring process. Find great talent through time-saving tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. With Instant Match, as soon as you sponsor a post, you get a short list of quality candidates with resumes on Indeed that match your job description, and you can invite them to apply right away. Plus, you only pay for quality applications that meet your must-have requirements. One of the things I love about Indeed is that it makes hiring all in one place so easy. One of the features I like is virtual interviews. With virtual interviews, Indeed saves you time. You can message, schedule, and interview top talent seamlessly all in one place. Indeed makes it easy to connect with your applicants. No need to install anything extra. Indeed's virtual interviews work from your browser. That's pretty sweet. Start hiring right now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/pastgas. Offer valid through April 30th. Go to Indeed.com/pastgas to claim your $75 credit before April 30th. Indeed.com/pastgas. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Brabham's first of many notable wins in his career was the 1959 Monaco Grand Prix. This was his first international championship win, and he became the first Australian to win a Formula One Grand Prix. Brabham also went on to win the 1959 British Grand Prix in the Cooper Climax T54, where he drove 225 miles at an average of 90 miles per hour.
You want me to lube up your Climax, Jackie?
In 1959, that's stupid.
Yeah.
1959.
I was trying to think of how to react, but then my brain just shut off and I stared at the wall for 4 seconds.
I take that as a compliment.
It is. It is.
I started drooling because that was such a good joke. I was like Jack Nicholson at the end of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
In 1959, Brabham competed in the American Grand Prix at Sebring with some of his most worthy adversaries, like Brits Sterling Moss and Tony Brooks, as well as Cooper teammate and New Zealander Bruce McLaren. Jack would be considered one of Bruce's mentors, given how they met in the McLaren family workshop, but Brabham would consider the two of them to be friends. He never felt a competitive edge with McLaren and eventually got a kick out of helping the young driver get his start. With Sterling Moss running into mechanical trouble and being forced to pull out, the victory seemed to be right in Brabham's hands. Brabham and McLaren were first and second, respectively, for a majority of the race until Brabham ran out of gas during the last lap. Brabham didn't go down without a fight, though. He hopped out of his car and started to push it 100 yards to the finish line.
That's cool.
That's badass.
There's got to be more of that in Formula One.
Yeah, now they get like a puncture and they're like done.
Box.
Yeah.
All right, turn it off.
Jack ended up finishing fourth in the race, and the then 22-year-old Bruce McLaren became the youngest driver to win an international Grand Prix. Even with his hate-to-lose blackjack mentality, Brabham did love a fair fight and was happy to see his teammate and friend McLaren win. This right here is a prime example of one of the greatest at the sport being a pretty great sport.
Aw.
Yeah.
I guess.
In 1960 alone, Jack Brabham won the Dutch, Belgium, French, British, and Portuguese Grand Prix. Good Lord. Brabham and Cooper were not only a winning combination, but a revolutionary one in the racing world. Pretty much every racing car at the time had their engines in the front of the vehicle. Cooper's were a bit different, with the engines placed behind the driver to help improve weight distribution and handling.
No, can you take that back and read it more like, Coopers were a bit different.
Coopers were a bit different.
Yeah.
With their engines placed behind the driver to help improve weight distribution.
Why so serious?
And handling. Keep on rolling, baby. All right.
What is going on?
I don't know. I'm goofy today. I'm feeling goofy.
You guys are like on another level I have yet to reach.
Well, we didn't have to walk a dog today.
That's true.
Really drained me.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get the spark back. You know what I mean? I feel like the past month been really busy. Had to move. That really took it out of me. I feel like I'm still recovering from my move. And I'm just trying to feel the spark again.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone needs to move, we're pretty good at moving. Nope. You should hire a donut host to move.
Yeah. Past
side gig is moving.
Past gas moving. Nolan's helped me move twice.
Yeah.
Nolan helped me move once, but it was
a big couch.
It was like 4 trips worth of hassle.
Joe owns the biggest couch in the world.
He bought it from the Sultan of Brunei.
I'm not dissing the couch, Joe. It is a lovely couch.
You're not going to turn that down.
No,
you know?
No. I mean, it's a hell of a couch you got there. You got yourself there, Joe. It's
no slouch of a couch.
It's no slouch of a couch.
Nice.
In 1961, Brabham raced the Indianapolis 500 in a different version of the Formula One Cooper. Although it wasn't a faster car just yet, the mid-engine Cooper handled turns like a dream and showed the Indy drivers at the time that this variation of racing car had the potential to change how races were won. Control of the car was just as important as its speed. Within 5 years, Indianapolis would see mostly mid-engine cars thanks to Brabham's Cooper, which didn't even win that Indy race. With Brabham's success with the Cooper team, they were proving to the racing world that their style of cars was the right idea. Brabham didn't want to just stop there. He knew that there was more to be done, more changes and improvements to be made. The Cooper Company, however, didn't want to spend the money to build a stronger, faster, better car. They were having so much success as it was. Why not keep up the good work? Brabham soon struck out on his own and started a company with friend Ron Tornak, Motor Racing Developments, which produced racing cars which would later be referred to as Brabhams.
Why does like the most vague racing team sound so cool?
Motor Racing Developments.
Like that sounds sick.
Yeah, murd.
I think it's that
murder.
The addition of that S at the end. If it was Motor Racing Development, it's like, all right. Motor Racing Developments implies that they're
developing multiples.
They've got multiple things going on. They're
doubles, triples.
Yeah, doubles, triples. It's got 3 of everything.
I would add another R to make it Motor Racing Developments Racing.
Yeah, so it's murder.
Yeah, so it's murder. Hell yeah.
Racing twice on there?
Yeah. Motor Racing Developments.
Motor Racing Developments Racing. So Motor Racing Developments is the company.
That's the company, and then the racing is the team. Yeah.
Is the team, dude.
Motor
MRDR, dude, on the side of a race car on the side of your helmet.
That's sick.
Hell yeah. White helmet.
Yeah.
Just black block letters, murder.
It's hard.
Yeah, written in Sharpie.
Okay, wait.
or just like scratched into it with a knife. A ballpoint Bic. Like scratched into it like a desk.
Jack continued to race for Cooper, but it wouldn't be for long. Brabham's name alone held a lot of weight in the racing world, and it would be dumb for him to not capitalize on it. In 1962, Jack decided to set up his own team, the Brabham Racing Organization, leaving the Cooper team. Brabham's main focus during this time was the production of new, innovative race cars and developing a standout racing team. Despite efforts to progress in the sport, a new engine limit in Formula One of 1,500 cubic centimeters didn't mesh well with Brabham, and he did not win a single race with his 1.5-liter car.
I'm going from the murder team to the bro team.
Yeah, dude, I used to be down with murder, and now I like rep the bro.
Brabham's team suffered a lull during this time, and in 1965, he almost considered retiring to focus on managing his team. So he let American Dan Gurney take over as lead driver.
It's so crazy that all these guys know each other.
Yeah.
I love doing these old episodes, like these olden times episodes.
Dan Gurney's like, oh, I just made this flat.
Yeah, because they all show up in each other's stories. It's great. Anyway, Gurney taking over as lead driver actually led to the team's first victory. Good call. After going from being the talk of the racing world to taking on a role that was more behind the scenes than star, Brabham wasn't a likely comeback kid. All that would change, however, when he got his hands dirty once again and to become a star in the world of automotive engineering.
The Formula One engines of the 1960s were inefficient, unreliable, and difficult to produce. In 1966, Brabham set out to make an engine that was more efficient and could win races. He teamed up with Repco, an Australian engineering company that at the time had zero experience in designing complete engines. Together, they developed a lightweight 3-liter V8. Now, Brabham was unsure of how the engine would compete, but knew that it had potential to run efficiently and win. But would it work as intended? Or would this be his undoing? On July 3rd, 1966, a date that has no weight on Australians, for us, we call it Independence Day's Eve. On July 3rd, 1966, Brabham and his BT-19 race car lined up to race the high-speed circuit of Rymgoo in the 1966 Grand Prix. Rymgoo is my favorite Rhymefest album.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Joining him on the starting line were Formula One powerhouse Lorenzo Bandini and racing novice Mike Parks, who were both driving for Ferrari. Now, at the age of 40, Blackjack and his lovingly nicknamed Old Nail BT-19 weren't necessarily considered to be the hot contenders in the race, and the new engine had yet to prove itself. As the race began, Bandini took the lead, but Brabham closely followed, using the slipstream of Bandini's Fortissimo Ferrari to pull him up to 8 miles faster down the straights than the BT-19 could handle on its own. Now, this allowed Brabham to consolidate his lead over Ferrari's second driver, Parks. After 12 laps of close quarter battling, Bandini dropped away from Brabham when his Ferrari was stopped by a broken throttle cable. Finally in the lead, Brabham, the old nail, breezed past the finish line. That day, the Brabham BT-19 chassis ended up making history, along with Brabham's intense driving skills. He had claimed victory in the 1966 French Grand Prix and became the first racer to ever win a world championship in a car of his own make and model.
That could never happen ever again.
I did it.
Pumphrey 502.
What car did you?
Pumphrey 502.
What did you win, though?
Freaking Monaco.
The Grand Prix. in a Mustang.
I won Monaco in the Pumphrey 502. Don't look it up. Don't look it up.
I don't think you want to start that.
The 40-year-old seemed unlikely to be the star racer on that year's world stage. Even in all his success, Brabham was still referred to as an old man by racing standards. But old Blackjack had a sense of humor about it, showing up to the 1966 Dutch Grand Prix wearing a very long fake beard like Rip Van Winkle and hobbling in with a walking stick. The old man also went on to win that race and won 4 international Grand Prix races in 1966. That's a lot of wins.
That's a lot, especially for the time.
40, especially when you're 40 in 1966. Like 40 in 1966 is like 65 now. And if those bragging rights weren't enough, he also went on to be named Australian of the Year in 1966.
What?
Cool.
Dude, that's so coveted.
Yeah, dude. I've been shooting for it forever. And he became the first race car driver to be knighted by the Queen of England.
Whoa.
The first. Wow. A ton of them have been.
That's crazy.
Lewis Hamilton is a knight.
Yeah.
Jackie Stewart is a knight, among others. Those are just the 2 that popped into my head. The rest of the 60s were a bit of a roller coaster for Brabham's racing career. After a couple Grand Prix wins again in France and then Canada, Brabham didn't see another big win until 1970, when he was 44 years old.
Damn.
44 in 1970 is like 85.
Yeah. Those steaks and whiskey for lunch start to add up.
Mm-hmm. Also, like 1970s hospitals, like everything ticked, like everything was analog.
Yeah,
there was no
a lot
digital.
A lot of brown and orange decor as well. Just not a, it's a
Watch the
weird
first
vibe.
act of The Exorcist. That's what a hospital is like. It was like MASH.
I like waiting on my paychecks, said no one ever. Especially if you've got bills due, no one wants to wait for their paycheck. Good thing there's Chime though. Now you can get your paycheck up to 2 days early with direct deposit. That's up to 2 more days to save, pay bills, and generally just feel good about your money situation, feel a bit more secure. But Chime is more than just about getting paid early. It's also an award-winning mobile app, checking account, debit card, and optional savings account. I love how easy Chime's app is to use. You have access to all your accounts, your debit card, your savings account, your checking account, and also you get paid earlier. So what are you waiting for? Hopefully not your paycheck. Get started with Chime today. Applying for a free account takes less than 2 minutes, so get started at chime.com/gas. That's chime.com/gas. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank or Stride Bank NA, members FDIC. Early access to direct deposit funds depends on payer. When was the last time you took a closer look at your car or home insurance? Probably not in a while. I know last time I checked my insurance was when I sold my Z, which was a very sad day, but I pay a lot less now because of it, because I used the Zebra. The Zebra helped me find the lowest possible insurance rate, and it didn't take long at all. It took like a minute. That's why I recommend my friends at the Zebra. They make it so easy to find the best insurance at the best price for you. The Zebra compares car and home quotes from every major insurance company side by side, giving you all the facts you need to make the right decision. It's the fastest way to find the right coverage at the right price, all from a company you can trust. In fact, the Zebra could save you over $900 a year on car and home insurance combined. Plus, they do it all in under 5 minutes. All I had to do was hop on the zebra.com, put my zip code in there, and within a couple minutes, I had a bunch of different insurance quotes to choose from, and it made it so easy. Compare and save on insurance in minutes. Show your support for the show by going to this special URL, thezebra.com/passgas, and get your free quote today. That's thezebra.com/passgas. Big thanks to Everyman Jack for sponsoring this episode of Pass Gas. We spend a lot of time thinking about what we put inside our bodies, but what you put on your body is just as important. That neon green goop being sold as body wash is anything but natural or clean. Besides, if you need a PhD to pronounce it, do you really want it hanging out on your skin? I know I don't. Everyman Jack's men's care products use the best ingredients nature has to offer. I really like Everyman Jack's products. I use their body wash. It smells great. Feels great. I've gotten compliments on it at the office, which is rare. And they come in a bunch of different scents, which I appreciate because as a guy, you kind of get pigeonholed into using stuff that has names like fresh, which is like, what does that even mean? From body wash, deodorant, and skincare products to shampoos, balms, and oils to tame and nourish your hair and beard. Make every day feel like a getaway with incredible scents inspired by the great outdoors. We're talking about sandalwood, which is one of my favorite scents. We also got cedarwood if you're into the whole wood theme, sea salt, citrus, a lot of great scents. Everyman Jack works exceptionally without any of the harsh chemicals like parabens and dyes. They can be abrasive to your skin and leave it feeling dry. They use as many clean, naturally derived ingredients as possible like activated charcoal, caffeine, green tea, coconut oil, and shea butter. And also, Everyman Jack uses responsibly made packaging. Everyman Jack's men's care, naturally derived, outdoor inspired. Look for them at any Target, Walmart, Amazon, or everymanjack.com. Thanks, Everyman Jack.
In those years, the engineer in him got the best of his races, wanting to test new parts in cars instead of going with what worked already. By the end of the decade, Brabham's wife, Betty, was pushing for Jack to retire and return it to his family back in Australia. She was scared stiff every time he drove, but that's understandable to be scared like that because she's a wife of a race car driver. And he's like almost 50.
Yeah, I get it.
So she was probably like, come on, Jack. Let's go. Like, we're done, dude.
I've got a steak for you at home.
I've got a big old steak for you.
I put another roux on the barbie.
Wait, are they eating kangaroo?
Yeah.
That's what the steaks I've been talking about this whole time have been kangaroo steaks.
Yep.
My God, dude.
Or ostrich.
Delicious.
Yeah. I put another Joey on the barbie.
I know. It's like kangaroo veal.
Going back to Rhyme Goo real quick. I really love that one track where Idea refers to himself as a thesaurus, brontosaurus. And then he does a whole verse with like a dinosaur kind of motif. Pretty good.
Yeah, dude, Rhyme Goo is such a good song, like the titular song of the album, because it's got Idea, Slug from Atmosphere.
Yeah,
of course.
It's got Aesop Rock.
Aesop Rock.
LP is on it.
Yeah, that was cool that they had him.
Yeah, Brother Ali is on it.
Yeah.
Sage Francis.
Yeah, Mad Professor to the whole album.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't John Mayer? Or they sampled John Mayer for some. Like,
no, he actually played on it. He played live on it. Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he's playing guitar on it.
That's pretty sweet, dude. That's cool. That like I still don't really know what the connection is there between the like Mayer and.
Is this a real album?
I guess it's.
All right, because you guys are convincing me. This is very, very realistic.
It's one of my favorite bits is bullshit about fake songs.
Yeah, fantasy songs.
There's no denying the high risk, high reward stakes that come with racing. Brabham had several near brushes with death in his racing days, including a serious foot injury in 1969 during a testing accident. Brabham also lost several colleagues in his time, which was an unfortunately frequent occurrence, but none hit closer to home than the loss of his protege, Bruce McLaren. At the age of 33, McLaren died while going for one last test drive in one of his cars before a race on June 2nd, 1970. It was a Can-Am car. The wing element on the rear failed and he lost control and hit a steward's tower. Although reluctant to retire and convinced he still had some good racing years left in him, several things pushed Brabham to do so. His family's desire to move back to Australia and Betty Brabham's hope that their sons could grow up outside of the racing world were certainly high up on the list. Still, there's no denying that the loss of McLaren hit close to home and helped Jack's decision to become final. Jack retired in 1970 at the age of 44. He moved his family back to Australia to live a simple farm life. He still kept his garages and manufacturing businesses going, even starting an aviation company. The Brabham racing team lived under new ownership. Jack Brabham died at the age of 88 after a lengthy battle with liver disease. The day that Brabham died was May 19th, 2014, the eve of the Monaco Grand Prix. The race that many, many years earlier in 1959 was his first big international win. He often referred to that race as the one he enjoyed the most. Brabham's impact on the racing world lives on to this day. His mechanical skills had a lasting impact, not only with engines, but with brakes as well. Brabham helped emphasize the importance of brake zones and brakes in general in Grand Prix driving. The Brabham racing team has a long legacy of its own. The team continued after Brabham's retirement under the ownership of Formula One's Bernie Ecclestone, winning 2 drivers' championships in the early 80s and continued to thrive until dismantling in 1992. Even after a big move back to his home country, Jack's kids could not stay away from the world of motor racing. All 3 of his sons got into the industry. After Brabham's death in 2014, Brabham's youngest son, David, announced the formation of a racing team under the new name of Project Brabham. Both David and older brother Jeff went on to both win championship races the world over, including Le Mans, just one of the few races their dad never got to win. Even Jack's grandkids couldn't stay away. His grandsons Matthew and Sam both started out racing go-karts before graduating to car racing at a fairly young age. Jack Brabham was the start of a racing legacy that is still going strong 60 years later.
In his career, Brabham was the winner of 14 Grand Prix races and was a 3-time Formula One World Drivers' Champion. Looking at his accolades and accomplishments, it's easy to think of Jack Brabham as a perfectionist and jack of all trades.
Huh.
Pun not intended.
That's not intended.
Accidental genius there. Now, in reality, his attitude seemed to be more of the mindset of, yeah, this is good, but can we do it better? As a mechanic, he always wanted to work on and improve cars from the inside out to race better, and so that he and his contemporaries and his teams could be the best on the road. As a racer, he saw what his fellow drivers thrived on, learned from their skill, and upped his own ante. He seemed to not take cars or racing for what they were, but saw what they could be and go from there. His prowess and ingenuity made Brabham the pride of Australia and a Formula One favorite that should not be soon forgotten.
I think he sounds like a cool dude.
Dude, Up Your Own Ante is like a cool shirt.
Hey, where do you want me to put this? I don't know. Up your own ante.
Nice, Joe. Yeah, what a great story. Great dude. That was a fun one. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of Past Gas. I just really appreciate you listening. Thank you very much. Thanks for allowing us to do this.
Yeah, thank you, everyone who tunes in every week.
Follow the boys at Joe G. Weber. Follow James at James Pumphrey. Follow me at Nolan J. Sykes. Big thank you to our producers this week, Gavin Kinsell and Thomas Willett, and our writer this week,
Kristen Egan, homie from Milwaukee.
Homies from Milwaukee, never let you down. This was a great script. That was a lot of fun. All right, tell someone about the show.
Tell someone about the show, yeah, because word of mouth is the best way to kind of spread podcasts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you have the means, I would love it if you would hire a skywriter and write Past Gas podcast available wherever podcasts are available in the sky in your town. I would love that.
That would be sweet. That would be very cool.
It shouldn't be that hard.
No, it shouldn't be that hard. It doesn't seem like that hard. So quit pretending like it is.
All right. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.